okay, before anybody calls me out on the thumbnail or the title of this video, I know the Canucks had 20 shots in the third period, and that was really good. The effort they showed in the third period, certainly, on paper it was much better than the second period, that's for sure. And unfortunately, they weren't able to convert. Philipp Grubauer actually did play a very good game, in my opinion, and Jacob Markstrom. Now, I know that the thumbnail, it features Jacob Markstrom and Anders Nielsen, but Markstrom played a good game after it was 3-1. Let's just say that. So, overall, this game, there wasn't really anything to cheer about. I mean, Boeser didn't get a point, we lost in regulation. I mean, you could say, oh, we lost, and that's a good thing, and I'm cheering because of that, but it's the games like these that just don't feel good, because we had chances, and we had bad goals go in against us, and we couldn't convert and everything. So this was one of those games where, even though we did lose, it just didn't feel good to watch, man. I mean, if Boeser got a point on the power play goal, then I would have been like, yeah, that's a good game for Team Tank. Boeser gets a point and we lose in regulation, but, you know, we can't get everything we want, right? So, overall, I mean, all the goals that Vancouver let in, I didn't like any of them. First off, talking about John Carlson's goal, don't even get me started on that play. I mean, whether that was goalie interference or not, by definition, I have no idea because I didn't bother to read the rulebook. A play like that shouldn't even transpire, in my opinion. If the net's off, the net's off. I mean, you could say, oh, the pegs were still in or whatever, but, like, any referee who's watching that, no referee is going to look at that without suspicion, and I was kind of surprised that they didn't blow the whistle, especially since the net was kind of leaning forward for a long time. Talking about the second goal that the Washington Capitals scored, Lars Eller, this one I didn't like it at all. I mean, Eller, he put on the Jets, he got right through our D-men, and a shot, a really good shot, it goes right over the shoulder and under the glove of Markstrom. Markstrom kind of like, he does that thing that you do in PE class where you're moving your shoulders in a circular motion. He does that, lunges forward a little bit, and the puck goes right through him. And watching the replay of that on the back cam, I just didn't like that at all. I was kind of disappointed in that one. And then the third period, we start things off by, like, giving them a breakaway, and then Kuznetsov gets a really I didn't like that goal at all. He takes a shot, it gets saved by Markstrom, and then Eric Goodfreaking-Branson takes the puck and he, like, throws it off of Markstrom and in. Granted, Kuznetsov was going to hit that with his stick also, but overall, the goals that we let in just didn't feel good, and I had a tough time watching these goals, honestly. Watching them go in and watching the replays, I was like, oh man, not this again. And granted, Markstrom played a great game. Just looking at the shots for the Washington Capitals in the second period, they had 18 shots, and the shots in the second were actually really, really freaking stacked. I mean, they had 18 shots, and we had 4. Imagine the possession numbers of that. And, oh my goodness, I know we had 20 shots in the third, and they had 7, but there's a difference in watching the Canucks control the play in the Washington zone and watching the Capitals control the play in the Vancouver zone. You could say, oh, we were technically more successful than them in dominating a period. Yeah, sure, but, like, it really puts into perspective just why the Capitals are one of the best teams in the league at this point. And you could say that statistically we had a better opportunity to score in the third than the Capitals did in the second, but their scoring opportunities were just off the charts. Like, we didn't have that many good scoring chances. And shot attempts, you could say whatever you want about shot attempts, but, like, in total, the Canucks actually led in shot attempts, 73-65 for Vancouver. But if you take a look at 5-on-5 even strength shot attempts, it was tied. So, really, a lot of those opportunities for Vancouver, they came on the 6-on-5, they came on the power play, and it just doesn't feel good. And I know that we had that 6-on-5 at the end of the game, and they were like, oh, making some good plays, passing it back and forth and shooting it. I was kind of pleased with that, but at the same time, when I was looking at the Vancouver Canucks in the neutral zone, they had 6 skaters on the ice, goaltender was pulled, there was like 40 seconds to go. When I saw the Canucks in the neutral zone with 6 skaters and the Capitals with 5, and the Canucks started skating slowly right into the zone, I was like, yo, we're not going to do anything. Just watching this team, there isn't a strong sense of hope. I mean, does that make me a bad fan? Because if I was a Capitals fan watching this game, and I saw the Vancouver Canucks with 6 skaters enter my zone, watching the Canucks in this game, it didn't feel intimidating at all. I know for a fact, however, that if we were watching the Capitals had 6 skaters in the neutral zone, and they started skating in, that would make me feel intimidated and scared, just to see what the Capitals team would be able to do. But, like, no, that presence isn't there for the Canucks. There's no uh-oh factor, as Steve Dangle likes to call it. For some reason, it just doesn't happen for us. And the Canucks, they got a goal. Daniel Sedin tips it in off of an Edler shot, assisted by Henrik Sedin as well. Was kind of pissed off that Boeser didn't get a point, but, you know, that's the roll of the dice, right? But overall, this video, the thumbnail of this video is like LOL defense, and there's a picture of Nielsen and Markstrom on there. I wanted to talk a little bit about that, because this team, when they're in their own zone, my god, does it not look like we'll be able to clear it. And I say that with sincerity. This second period was one of the worst periods that I've ever seen played by one hockey team. And overall, the whole uh-oh factor and the whole fear factor just of being scared of these other teams and these other shot attempts, it was just so high in this period. This whole period, I felt like the whole period was in the Canuck zone. I felt like this whole period was just the Capitals cycling it around and taking shots at Jacob Markstrom. He let in 1, and that was the Lars Eller one that I did not like. But I gotta give it to Markstrom. He played out of his mind. And even though he didn't have a better save percentage than Grubauer, Markstrom still, I really was impressed by Markstrom's play. And even though Grubauer did get the first star of the game, and Lars Eller was the second star, and Kuznetsov was the third star, like, Grubauer, he played a good game too, but I don't feel like the shots that he faced were as strong as Markstrom's. I don't feel like Grubauer's individual success in this game overshadowed Markstrom's. Sure, Markstrom let in 2 more goals, but, like, did you see the opportunities that Markstrom had to face? You got really good, talented, speedy guys coming in like Verana and Ovechkin, and he's stopping these guys left and right. Then you got really good cycling with like Backstrom and Kuznetsov, and good one-timers from the point, Orlov and Carlson. The Capitals were really a thing of beauty in this game, and it's obvious to see why they're one of the best. And just when you see one of the best teams playing against one of the worst teams, who I believe were at an opportunity to be 4th last or something, if Ottawa wins tonight, something like that. I hope Ottawa wins. Please, Burrows, score the game-winning goal. If that happens, you're gonna see some bad hockey, and for the most part, the shots, man, they were 18-4 in the second period for Washington. It was a bad opportunity for the Canucks. It was a bad period for the Canucks. And sure, the Canucks, they outshot the Capitals 20-7 in the third. Yeah, right. Sure, they outshot the Capitals 20-7, but did they really look like that much of a threat? All these shots were like harmless floaters, point shots and all that, getting tipped or whatever in front, but for the most part, I felt that the true star power and the true offensive opportunities came from the Capitals. Sure, the numbers say, shot attempts, they were, like, equal, or, the shots, they were 38-36 in favor for Vancouver, so Vancouver outshot the Capitals. Okay, but did you look at the shots? Did you look at the opportunities that the Capitals had? Did you look at the opportunities that the Canucks had? I don't want to discredit either of these goaltenders, because they played great, both of them. But being a Canucks fan and watching the Canucks play, I'm not used to having a good team to watch. So when we watch a game against the Capitals, I'm sitting there in awe, just watching how good the Capitals really are, and just how much they were able to control this game. Sure, you could say Vancouver mirrored the control in the third period, but did they really? Did they really seem like that much of a dangerous threat in comparison to the Capitals of the second period? That's why this video, the thumbnail is LOL defense, because the defense in this game, our whole crew, Goodbranson, Edler, Stetcher, Delzato, and all that, they just couldn't keep up for the second period, and they had to leave Markstrom out to dry for a few times. Sure, Markstrom coped up with it for like 17 shots in the period, but still, I don't want to see Jacob Markstrom being forced in a position where he has to do that a lot. For some reason, Markstrom plays better when we're already losing. Did anybody else notice that? I certainly did. Or you could just say that Markstrom plays better when the other team is hot. But I digress. The Canucks lose this one. It's 3-1. Doesn't really feel like a good loss. I mean, it's a win for Team Tank, but it doesn't feel good at all. Didn't like the goals, didn't like the opportunities, didn't like the Canucks in this one. Boeser didn't get a point. It's just everything went wrong. And the only thing to show for it is that we're, well, 2 points closer to being Rasmus Dahlin's future NHL team. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Plus, not just roles like Last Wrestling and Gaming, and bye.